Hello world, how are you all doing? I'm back from a lunch break and we are going to go back to the Open Focus Timer. And I have created already the Open Focus Timer part 21 document, copied over the next steps we need to do. I'm not going to go over the summary of the part 20, which we just had in the morning. And yeah, we're going to start right away with the get the app working on iOS 2. Quickly, what I forgot to do before is thank new followers. So Snowy YTP, thank you for following, and Putting Mimati, also thank you very much for following. And Batuhan Karababa, of course, also is now following, of whose app we reviewed in the morning. And now let's get back to the Open Focus Timer here. So we were on the mission to make the Open Focus Timer also work on iOS again, because we were focusing on macOS and we have like multiple windows that we're opening, and we have to find a way to do it differently on iOS. And I think last time what we did is we made sure that this part, which is the settings, we only show on macOS. But we have not done anything to show another kind of like the settings in another place on iOS. And all these things we want to fix now. So let's see what the iOS app builds like right now. Let's just run it and see what's going to happen. Oh, build failed. Oops, what did I... Xcode crashed, wow. Never happened. So it's failing because... okay, it's trying to run on my Mac. Let's run it on the simulator. Okay, here we got it. And I expect not much to happen right now. So currently it's just trying to show the sidebar and we can't really do anything here. Also, our sidebar currently is empty. So but what's currently not possible is to navigate anywhere. Of course, if we had some entries in the sidebar, we could click them and then we could like navigate to the entry of the things in the sidebar. But we want to also show everything else. Like when we run the Mac app, we have many things there. We have the settings, we have the timer screen, and we want to put them all in here as well. So one simple approach that we could do is, as you can see here, we have, when we start the Open Focus Timer app, we have a timer window, a main window, and a settings screen. And I think this is all just relevant for iOS, for macOS. So let me put them all into, if we're targeting macOS, then we're going to do all these things. Else, so here's what we're going to do when we start an iOS app, and we are going to start a window group as well, because in iOS also we have a window, but instead of main, timer, etc., we're going to, I think what's easiest on iOS is to just use a tab bar. So we're just going to try using a tab view. And this is the main feature view, the app entry point. This really needs to be renamed. Settings view. I think this is basically the timer view, right? What does this actually do? Let me see if this really does. This just has a timer state. It has a did appear and the timer action. The view is pretty much just showing the timer, and on appear it's sending this action. Well, that's about it. It's not really doing anything. We do have some logic here, but that's basically seeding the data when we start the app, and this could be placed also elsewhere. Actually, I think this is something that we could place to where the app is starting. Seeding the data, fetching predicate, etc. Current focus timer. When app is ready for analytics, current focus timer. If it's nil, we're creating the first one basically. Timer state. This is kind of logic to be put in another place, but this is definitely something that needs to be refactored. So let me just create a warning, and let's just call it refactor the app, or remove app entry point by splitting its content into the timer view and app. Yeah, basically into app. So we want to do that later for sure. For now, we're just going to consider the app entry point like being the timer view, and we're going to refactor it later because we want to focus on the iOS part here. So what are we going to show on iOS? And I think, do we really need a title? Looks like, can we create a window group without a title? Yeah, we could just create one with content right away. So let's create one without a title on iOS because there's not going to be really windows there. And indentation is done differently on Xcode for these if OS, etc. But I like to have them indented. Also Swift format. Yeah, Apple Swift format likes that too. So we want to show some view here, and the question is, what do we show here? And I think we need a new feature here, which is simply wrapping these three things into tabs. We could also do it directly in here. Although if we do it in here, I'm not sure if we can use the full navigation capabilities of composable architecture. So I'm going to create a new feature, and we have our generate code there. So I'm going to generate generate new package, and I'm going to call it iOS or tab bar. No, iOS entry point. Mobile entry point, iOS entry point, iOS entry point. Does that make sense? So we have app entry point, which is going to be removed long term. So we will have iOS entry point, and for the others we will have Windows. Or we just say iOS tab window, tabbed iOS window. I'll just call it iOS app entry point, iOS entry point. I think it's quite clear what it's about. iOS entry. Yeah, let's just do it like that. This is the iOS entry point, generating it. There we go. It's telling us that we should add this to the package.swift file. Let's do that. And same here with this. Let me just check something. Okay. Into here. Okay. So we should have also iOS entry point here with action handler, error, etc. And here's our view. So let's actually switch to that iOS entry point. Let's build and see what our preview looks like. And in this case, the preview variants, we really don't need to see what it looks like on macOS. We might want to remove that preview for macOS later. For now, let's just scroll down to the iOS views and focus on them. Of course, if our previews do work, because they don't always work. There we go. Okay, it's actually showing iOS 4 times. Don't really know why, but yeah, because we have iPhone 14 selected, which is fine. So let's keep this up from forefront, and we can now adjust this. And basically, what we want to do here is we want to show tab bar. So let's show a tab bar. It's a tab view, I think. And I can say selection and content. For the selection, we have to create a selection here in the state. Let's just create a bindable. Add bindable state. This is going to be selected tab, so we need to have tabs here. Let's make this an enum. Tab entry, something like that. Tab item. Let's make this case iterable. And then what entries we will have? We will have main, we will have timer, and we will have settings, right? These are the 3 tabs that we have. Now let's actually give these, maybe not. I wanted to give them a string raw representable, but we don't need that yet. We can still add it later. So we will have selected tab, which is a tab item, and it'll be, so when we start the app, what should be selected? Main or timer? That's like the question. I guess timer is the thing that we need most, so maybe we should default to that. So we have set that, and then we can now here just say name, select the tab. Oops, view started binding, of course. View started binding. Selected tab. And the content will be tab item. Was it not tab item? Let me go open the SwiftUI companion app. And just look for tab view example. Oh yeah, we just show the choose the views here of the content, okay, and then we just say tab item for the content. So basically, here we need to import everything that we need there, that we were providing here. So app entry point. This also needs to import the iOS entry point. Let's go to iOS app. Let's include iOS entry point. And so we don't have to do if else, etc. Although we already do that, so maybe we just don't need the iOS entry point here. Let's do it like that. So we go back to our app here, and we say if def, or just if OS is not Mac OS. And if, and in that case we import iOS entry point. So we should have access to iOS entry point here. We're going to implement that. Well, let's focus on iOS entry point right here. So in here we need to access app entry point, main feature, and settings. App entry point, main feature, and settings. And now we should be able to say import app entry point, main feature, settings, and we of course need to have the states as well. I think they're all going to be non-optional, so I'm just going to say app entry point state, main feature state, and settings state. Of course, we have to initialize all of them. This needs context. Here we go. We have them all set now, and oh, and it's managed object context. Now we need to also connect the reducer. So I want to say something like, let's import first, although it will import automatically. App entry point reducer dot pullback. The same we need with main feature reducer. Let's just copy these, they're always the same. And settings reducer. So now we need to write from the global setting, we need the actions before. Let's also add them. And we're going to need, the imports will happen automatically. So I'm going to say app entry point action and same with main feature action and settings action. Great, now we should be able to connect everything together in the reducer. We'll just say this is the iOS entry point state to app entry point state. Then we have iOS entry point action to app entry point action, and we're just passing the same environment object. So this is basically, oops. Well, we can copy and paste here. Just changing the main feature state, main action, and same here with settings state and settings action. Oops. Okay. Cannot convert because the dot is missing here, of course. And the app entry point needs something specific, so we need to initialize that. App env, this is something we can pass, and a database seeder and the shared one. Oh, we need to import database seeder. It's in model. So let's import model here. Cannot infer key type app entry point. No dot. I think this is correct. Cannot convert value of type iOS and app entry point state to expected. Routable key path, iOS entry point state. Oh, it's not variable. That's, I think, the problem. They are letters. We need to make them variable. This should fix the problem. Great, this is building now, and we can now actually initialize the different views. So we can say first we want to show the timer, or it's called the app entry point view. Scope, self.store.scope, and we want to scope with state and action both together. Let's make this more readable. There we go. So we can just plug from the state the we're talking about the app entry point state, and the action is just our iOS entry point action dot app entry point. There we go. And for this, that's what this is telling us. We need to provide the tab item that is related to that. And it says we can provide a tab label. Interesting. So I'm just going to say tab item, and we can provide anything here. Do we need a tag as well? I think we need a tag as well. So I will also add a tag. And just the tag in this case is our state iOS entry point state dot tab item dot, in this case it's timer. And a tab item we provide, they're using tab label. What's tab label? Is that even a view? Not really. I'm just going to use a label with title and icon, and a title. Do we already have title? I think we're just calling it timer, right? Oh, wait. What are we calling it in the app? So we have main, timer, and settings. So I'm just going to call this timer, and a symbol. Is there something with clock? Yeah. Watch face. Stopwatch, I think is pretty much fine. Cool, let's test if this works actually first before we continue. And we can already see we need to provide some context here. It's building now, still failing. Because, yes, of course, our reducer isn't handling all actions. We should fix that. So we have action from settings, from app entry point. Where's the main feature? Yeah, it's missing, I think. Did we forget to add it? No, it's there. Case main feature action. Actually, we don't really need to do anything here. Let's just say they're already being handled by child producers for now, and we can add the ones that we really need to add. Return none, handled by child reducer. Plural makes sense in this case. Now it's building, and the preview should also update, and we should see a tab item here now in the middle, because we will only have one. And it is kind of working, but not fully working. I wonder why. But before we get into the why, I want to see what this looks like when I run it from the iOS app. So let's go to the Focus Timer app, and let's actually show this new view here. I'm going to say iOS entry point view. I'm going to create one with a new store. Initialize the store. Initial state, I will just initialize with our context, which is, I think we have a persistence controller somewhere. Let me check where we're doing it elsewhere. Here we go. Self the persistence controller, the container review context. The reducer is our iOS entry point reducer. An environment. Let's create a new one. Main queue. Okay. Where else are we creating? Create app env. Is this what we're calling here too? I think so. So we will have only one window group here now. It's kind of building. Let's run the app. Okay, now we can see we have still iOS, we have this iOS entry point view showing, but something weird is going on here. I want to know what exactly. Let me see. So we are starting right away the window group. iOS entry point, and in there that's weird. What will happen if we go to that? Is really interesting. So we're going to check that in a moment. Let's just go back to the iOS entry point view, and let's work in the preview here. Why are there so many previews? Oh, we still have this VStack, that's why. Okay. Makes sense. We just want to have the tab view though. Okay, let me go here again. Let me see as an example with actually a tag. Yes, they're using tab item and a tag. So that looks all right. But we don't see any entries here. Why not? We should see the timer entry. I don't quite get that. Is there something like tab item? Not really. They're using a tab label. What is that? Struct, that is the, okay, they're using an H stack. This should work actually. So there's nothing we're showing here. App entry point view is empty. Why is it empty? That's also a question. Well, let's add more. Let's see what happens if we have multiple entries. So we will have also a main feature view, which will be main feature state and main feature action. I'll call it main. And we're going to use what makes sense for stats, maybe main, general, not gear, general, main, graph, maybe data. I don't know what icon to use. Let's try to get inspired by web search. So main icon. What can a main icon look like? Maybe like home. Yeah, why not home? Let's try something with home. Home. House. House fill. Let's try house. So we're doing house for main. In that case, it's main. And I think this here needs to be identifiable. Although I'm not sure, maybe just hashable and identifiable. Let's just make it everything. And let's also make it raw. Let's just give it a string, raw value. This should be fine. Main feature. Same with settings view. Settings state and settings action. Going to call it settings, and here we can use the gear. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, failed. Because it does not conform to identifiable string self.raw value. Now this should work. Let's preview now. There we go. So now we can see settings, main, and sidebar here. We can see that it's actually using, so it's basically indenting by the safe area. And I actually want to see what this, if it does, it still does it in the iOS app, if I run it in the iOS app, or if it will somehow recognize that it shouldn't do that. Because I might need to call it to ignore the safe area otherwise. Preview can be sometimes different from the actual app running, so I'm not judging by the preview. Let's see the app. And startup time is quite high. And yeah, this is pretty much what we expect, and maybe it's a good thing that it's actually indented by this. And now we have settings, and we can see in settings we have general and categories, and they're at the bottom. That's interesting. So we might want to change how this works. And then we can see these things, and you can see that we have a problem here with the width and height, so we're going to adjust all of these things now to make everything work for iOS as well. Whoop whoop whoop, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How's your day going? So we're currently trying to bring what we already have on the Mac app and work on iOS as well, because as you can see, things don't fit quite well into the screens on iOS yet. And you can see this double duplicate tab bar also isn't a great solution. But things are basically working, and here we also don't have any button to dismiss. Although we do have, okay, this is the cancel button. But things look ugly right now on iOS, and we definitely don't want it to stay like that. But that's a nice color picker there. And we can't select anything here. Why not? Why can we not select? Okay. Anyways, we're going to go step by step. So first, this kind of works, but we're not seeing the main content here. Hey, going good, procrastinating from my own iOS project, watching some Twitch. What's the plan with this project? This is an open source project, and I basically plan to replace, let me show you quickly. So I'm currently using this app, it's called Flow, for my streams. Oops. And this is basically a timer where I can make sure that I make breaks often enough. And I want to have more statistics though. For example, what I always do in my streams is I summarize which progress I made and the problems and blockers I had, the learnings I had, and also the next steps where I want to continue. And I find this very, very useful, and I want to have this built into my focus timer so I can later basically have an overview of different things I've done at different times. I can always look back and see what progress I made on which day and what learnings I had. I can basically, it's basically like a logbook or something like that for my work. And we also have features where we can categorize the time. So I can, when I start a new timer, that's not possible here. When I start a new timer, I can say, okay, today I'm going to focus on design, for example. And I can just select design, and later I can look back and see how much time I have invested in what. So I can see like how much time for the creation of an app it took to work on designs, work on coding, work on whatever. So that's like basically what this app is about. And I'm writing it both for my private work because I want to track this for myself, and also for the stream. So we're going to have a exchangeable view where the community will be able to provide different UI designs for the same timer view. This is not the app that we're working on, but on ours we will basically make it easy to provide your custom design, because it's open source. It should be easy enough, and it's all SwiftUI, so it should be easy enough to just write your own design for other streamers and for just everybody who just wants to have designs. And the plan is to just ship that on the store. It's a really good idea. I could see myself using that in my day job for sure. It's useful even if you don't need to track your time. It can be useful if you need to track your time. It can also be useful. It's easy. I think it's going to be easy enough for people to add features like exporting their monthly work or things like that. And actually, let me quickly show you the Mac app so you can see where we are at right now. Actually, you can define your own category groups. So for example, if you were a freelancer and you were working for different clients, you could define a field named client, and then you could basically change that for each focus session that you're having. And other users could create other kinds of category groups. You can see in the preferences, we have categories. Currently, these two category groups, project and task type, are hard-coded, but even they will be editable. So currently you can just edit projects, so you can create already projects. You can also give them some icon and things like that. You can delete them, edit them, and you can create task types. That's what I'm doing for myself. These are the two that I need myself right now, but I might need others in the future, and others might need other things. So I will make also the category groups adjustable, so you can adjust these two. And then you can basically have a category group, and every time you start a timer, so if I just go into a timer view, let's just open a new timer window. Every time you start a timer, it will ask you for all category groups, and it will require you to fill both out. And that way you make sure that on every session you track whatever you need to track. And we will also make sure that these are pre-filled with whatever you've used before, so you can just reuse that. But yeah, this is basically what it's going to be like. And this UI is very ugly or very simple, let's put it like that. And of course the UI will be improved later. Well, let's get back to the iOS app. because our macOS app kind of works, our iOS app really doesn't work yet. And I think we were working on the iOS entry point view. So yeah, we can see these two tabs. When we ran the app, we saw multiple issues. First here, we just see the sidebar. But I think this is going to resolve itself once we have more entries. Do you have any logic to automatically stop the timer on Mac? Free L Moritz asks. You mean something like when I leave the Mac or when I don't touch the mouse and things like that for a while? Do you mean something like that? The thing is, I don't have that yet. So for the first iteration, I'm focusing when you are idle. Yes, okay. I'm currently focusing on just making everything controllable manually. But if you, for example, if you need that, I'm totally that's why it's open source. You can find it also on GitHub. That's what's amazing about it. If you need that feature, you can just implement it yourself. And I might need that feature as well. Once I start using it, maybe I will recognize, okay, actually I need to have that feature, then I will add it and everybody will have access to it. So that's the whole point and of making it open source. So just go to Flying Dev Public Open Focus Timer and you can find the code. And once I am closer to release, I think it will make sense to just add that feature. But that's definitely a cool idea. So feel free to also just go to that site and let me just reopen that. Feel free to just go here and just report that as an idea in the issues so I don't forget and others can vote on it. So just go to the issues and just create a feature request there. Then we can just track it. So we make sure we don't forget. And any other feature you might need, just add it there and someone from the community might actually implement that. Or you implement it yourself, or I implement it maybe in a future stream. You never know. Oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. Subscribed with Prime Gaming. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're so kind. That's much appreciated. Thank you. So, stream getting live. That's always like in the morning stream, there's like always not many people, and now it's getting more alive. And I see this is okay. Great, let's continue. So we were just here. So let's go one step at a time. First thing I can see we can see these two, but I'm missing the third. I'm missing the main feature. I don't know. We have main and settings. We're missing the timer. So where's the timer? Why can we not see this? We're doing the same like here. There's really nothing different. We're just not seeing the entry even. So if I just used like a text, timer view, and we just comment this out, would it work then? Let's see in the preview. Yes, now it works. Okay, so this means it is an issue with the app entry point view. Somehow when we create this, it's probably rendered as an empty view or something. So let's have a look at app entry point view. What does this actually do? This says if let's store if there is a timer state. I think we need to refactor this right away. I mean, we don't need that app entry point at all anyways. We can directly use the timer view. We just need to extract some of its code to other places. Okay, then let's do it right now because as we can see, it is creating an issue and we're not able to continue without fixing that. So let's do the refactor. But before we do that, let's actually make a commit because this is basically already progress. And this should build on both platforms. We have run it, so it does build. This is adding the new package. And I'm concerned of the name of this package because I'm starting with a lowercase I. And I'm concerned that the linters we have set up, that they might not accept that, but we will see. So these are kind of empty. I think we can keep them as is. This is connecting everything together. This is this knows about the selected tab. And this is also working. I think this should be fine. So add iOS entry point to for global or single window, tab the window on iOS. Yes, I was expecting this to happen, and it's telling me, yeah, name violation. Question is, do we rename the file or do we ignore the rule? That's like the big question. And I think I will rename the file because I want to have it consistently always the same. And it has also adjusted some orders here. So let's rename this thing, and let's keep the name here, but all classes I have to rename to big I. Yeah, maybe we need to rename that then as well. Let's rename the package as well. iOS entry point. And we could actually just search and replace iOS entry point and replace it with the large one everywhere, right? Yes, I think that's fine, except maybe for the reducer. I think we will handle that extra, so let's just go iOS entry point to replace all, and then we go extra for the reducer one, and we revert that back to a small I. There we go. This should now build, although of course this has changed. iOS entry point. This should build. The Mac app should build. The iOS app should build. Oh, the build failed. Because this is no longer there, that's true. It's renamed to iOS app entry point. Now it should build. There we go, now we should be able to commit. Let's check again. It's looking all right. This here too. And this. All good, let's commit this. Nice, now we can do the refactoring of the app entry point, and I'm basically going to extract the code that we have in the reducer to the right places. So first we have something that is seeding a database, and we're doing this on basically each app start once, and then we're fetching a few stuff, but I think this is the part that I can extract into the app level. So I'll just go into the app, and I just go here. I actually just want to run this, and this is already being run, so probably I don't need that. I can just get rid of it. Next, we are calling fetch request and basically doing some stuff to set up the timer state with a focus timer. Okay, I will actually just comment this out because we might actually need to reuse that. And this part we definitely don't need that anymore. Yeah, everything else we don't need. Let me comment this out. Let me actually comment all of them out before we delete them. Okay, then we also remove app entry point from here. Let me comment this out because we might need to copy and paste stuff from there. And next we need to go here. Let me actually check first. Yeah, we can also remove this. Instead we're going to import the timer there directly. Oh, there's no timer. Where's the timer view? Okay. Okay, I think this is broken right now. Oh, okay, we're going in a break, so I'll be back in 5 minutes and we'll continue from there. Be right back. Okay, let's continue here. Great, okay, we were at, we're just adding that. And trying to fix build errors, I think. iOS entry. Oh yeah, the timer was missing. And yeah, okay, I remember. The package somehow seems not to build anymore, I'm guessing because there are dependencies on app entry point. Makes sense. And that's it. Instead of app entry point, we're going to depend on timer. Is it just timer or timer feature? It's timer feature. Okay, now we should see a timer here. There we go. Great. Let's build again. It'll fail, of course, because we still have many places to adjust. And it's, for example, the Mac app also needs the timer feature. No app entry point. And let's remove that here as well. Instead, let's use timer feature directly. Timer feature. View. Timer view. Yeah, timer view. Timer reducer. And I believe it can just use create app env. Initial state. Does it work with just init? Oh, we need to provide a current focus timer. Okay, this is where the logic comes in that we had before in here. So we might need to create something well like this here. Let's just go here. Let's just create a helper function. Current focus timer. Focus timer. Let's see what this code was doing. So it's creating a fetch request, sort descriptor, current focus timer is trying to get a focus timer from the environment's append. Instead, we're just going to use self.create append. Append. Let's just go env. Yes, self.create append. So we can just go to environment. That should work. Current focus timer, we set it. This is handling of errors. This is providing context. We should have that here on env directly. And this one, it's not needed. Instead, we just return current focus timer. It must be non-nil. So we can just say guard let current focus timer is current focus timer, else oh wait, okay, we can just return current focus timer like this, because we're saying if it's nil, we're making sure it's no longer nil. And then we can return it like that. Or we just make it safer, we just if let current focus timer is focus timer, return current focus timer. else, and then we just create this new focus timer and return that. Should be the same logic. Okay, this is now to get the current focus timer, and we can just say self the current focus timer. This is macOS code, so let's build on macOS to see if that works. I'm kind of having a runny nose today a little bit. It's just slight. Okay. This builds. Does it build? Yes, it builds. Wow, can I run the app and it just works? Let me check. I'm gonna rerun the app and see if it loads that current timer correctly, and it does. Nice. So this is working for macOS already. Now let's build for iOS, and I think that was failing. Yes. Can't see the error though. Signing, of course. Let's try with simulator. No errors shown here. That's the problem. App entry point, descriptor, etc., etc. No, yeah. We don't have app entry point yet. Let's just search for app entry point. Where do we still have it? Anywhere where it's not commented out. Here. Yeah, instead we want to import timer feature. And instead of app entry point, we want to have timer feature. Let's rename everything here. Timer view. Timer feature. Let's call it timer state. I don't want to put timer feature everywhere. Just rename this to timer state. Okay, now we need the current focus timer here. How do we do that? I think we can just pass it along. It's current focus timer, oops. Focus timer. I think we need to import model here. And then we can pass it along. Let's go to the action. Let's just name this timer. The reducer, timer state, and timer action. Timer reducer. Now we can just pass like this. Timer action. This is done. There's nothing here. This is done. This is done. This is done. Timer action. And this should be done now as well. Let's see if it works now. Still building fail. Search again. Is it using it? And this is just implemented. Refactor this to integrate and directly remove Refactoring point. I don't see anywhere else where I'm using now, so it should actually build now. Yes, of course we need to provide the current focus timer, so the current focus timer. Okay, I have to quickly clean my notes. I'll be back right away. Okay, I'm back and we can continue. So we need to add the current focus timer here as well. Focus timer. Let's create a mocked one. Let's build again. So build succeeded, and let's refresh the preview and let's see what this looks like. And this is the iOS app. Of course, we want to see the preview with iOS entry point selected. Let's build that first. Oh, something's not working. Is it because of that? What is the issue? Let's just try again. Still not working. Let's make a clean build. The app does build. Right? Yes. But the preview does not. Oh, it does, okay. Cool, we can now see the timer. Morning! Ver Ureo, welcome to the stream, how are you doing? It's not exactly morning for me, but I'm guessing then that you're somewhere in New York time zone. So is that Eastern time? Having my own Xcode troubles. Yeah, I'm in Florida. Ah, nice. Eastern, the time. Eastern EDT. What's EDT? Eastern, the draconic time. Eastern daytime, I guess. Daylight, yeah. Eastern daylight time. Okay. And do you also have discussions to stop having daylight and like switching between daylight savings and not? Because in Europe we have that discussions because like from studies it turns out that it really doesn't help that much, like saving a lot of energy, and also now we have really energy efficient lamps and therefore it's not really worth it anymore, and it's just confusing things. And we actually have like the majority of people living in Europe who are in favor of not having daylight savings anymore. So supposedly our Congress is trying to pass a bill to stay with daylight time always. Something similar happens in Europe, and also supposedly they wanted to do that years ago, and each year there's like rumors that they're going to do it, but we'll see what's gonna happen. Anyways, we can see finally our timer, and let's actually see this in action in the iOS app itself. So you're working in Xcode as well? Are you a freelancer? Are you working for a company? What's your story? I work for a company in Florida, I guess. Florida. I just know that a friend of mine used to go to I think she studied for a semester in Florida. Another friend went there for vacations, and all I hear from Florida is that of course it's really hot, but it's also like raining for a few hours, and then it's not raining anymore, and then like the rain can come anytime, and it also goes away, and then it's hot again. It's kind of crazy. That's what they told me. And they also told me about the university, that it's totally different from here. I can't do freelance, yeah, especially in the summer. I see, yeah, they probably went there in the summer. How cold does it get in the winter? Do you have snow there sometimes? Okay, actually this kind of looks workable. Like, I mean, the settings we have to fix and the sidebar isn't implemented, but this kind of works. If I pause, okay. Well, the timer is working. The edit category is not working. These buttons are disabled. Why are they disabled? And also, the close button at the bottom is not really iOS-like. There are times when you can set your watch to the thunderstorms. Set your watch? What do you mean? Do you mean like they come at specific times? I'm in East Central Florida, so it doesn't get too cold. Really, it doesn't get down into the 30s. Rarely. Wow. Are you talking Fahrenheit or Celsius? Because for me it's always Celsius. I don't really know the Fahrenheit scale. So I'm guessing 30 sounds like Fahrenheit. Yeah, okay. What's that? 30 Fahrenheit to 7 Celsius. Oh, -1. Okay, it's just getting below 0. Okay, but that's like also pretty much where I live, so I guess the winter. I mean, in Germany, of course, there are really cold places, but the city I'm living is the warmest city, or one of the 2 warmest cities in Germany, so it rarely gets also below 0, so below 30s, basically. But we can see the button placement needs to be changed. On macOS, this kind of works at the bottom right, but on iOS, we want to put it at the top. I would say we want to actually use a navigation bar there. So we see one place. Let's write down all the places we need to fix. So to get the app working on iOS 2, I think this is now completed. We have it working, but we have all the details. So get the app basically, get the navigation working. The base navigation working on iOS. One window. What kind of app are you working on? I'm guessing B2B, if it's working for a company, or do you have like a consumer product? And can you use SwiftUI? So do you already have the opportunity to like draw up iOS 12 or something, and or even I think it started with iOS 11, right? 12? I'm not sure about. Or 13. I think we're in the 3rd year, and this is iOS 15 we have right now. I think it should be iOS 30. Now I work for a fitness company, so our app connects with stationary bikes, treadmills, and rowers. Ah, I see, okay. So it's something like, what's the name? Peloton? Or do you work for Peloton, maybe? Not Peloton. Okay. But something similar to that, I'm guessing. Okay. Yeah, let's write down everything we need to change. Add feature to edit category groups. By the way, if you have any Swift code that you need help with, just create a GitHub gist, send the link, and I can have a look here live, or give feedback if you want to have feedback on Swift code. That's I offer that always, but no one has ever used that offer yet. Just don't send me entire frameworks. When a person sent me a framework and just said, can you check that out? But if you just send me like one file or something, I can always check that out, or one function. Still not working in SwiftUI, but we're hoping to drop support for iOS 12 soon and open the way for that. Yeah, I'm sure you're kind of mixed. You're looking forward to it on one side. On the other side, you're probably also a bit scared to switch to SwiftUI because it's so different. I can already tell you from experience on Twitter. I also had a survey recently that many people love the UI part in SwiftUI, but they kind of hate the navigation. That's like the first reaction I see all the time. I personally, I actually like the navigation quite a bit, as yeah, basically you can see that yeah, because I'm using TCA, I kind of like it because you're in full control in SwiftUI about the navigation. You can basically have the navigation turned on and off in your state. It's just so different from UIKit, where UIKit takes like basically UIKit has already some state with the navigation controller and stuff like that, where you just say, hey, please change to that, change back to that. But it holds the state and it has this black box magic that you're just using. And that's no longer there with SwiftUI. You just have to write your own state, navigation state logic. And that's why many people say they don't like navigation, but actually it's just giving you more control. And I'm sure you can, there's going to be many libraries more over time. And we have TCA now that really fixes that really well, I think. Honestly, I can't wait to dive deep into SwiftUI. We do all our UI programmatically right now, and I usually have a hard time visualizing our views. I see. Did you know that you could actually use SwiftUI right now for your UIKit views? Because in SwiftUI, let me just show you. I'm not going to show you full example, but you can see in SwiftUI we always have this struct thing, and it's like a previews. And the fun thing is I'm putting them already in if debug just for making sure they're never shipped in production. I think Apple already makes sure that it doesn't get shipped if it's a preview provider, but I just want to be sure, like double sure. So I'm putting it in if debug, and everything that is in if debug, you don't really care, right? You don't really it doesn't hurt your project. What you could do in your project is you could just write a wrapper for any UI view, and just or any that you want to have a preview for, and you could just import SwiftUI in a file with an if debug statement, and you could, like, during development you could switch your deployment target to, for example, iOS 13 or even 15 or something like that. And you could just, during development, use that SwiftUI preview for your UIKit views. And that actually works. I've read some blog posts about that. I'm not going to search for one right now, but I'm sure you're going to find it if you search for it. But I know that this works. I've tried it out myself once. So that's maybe something how you can have the preview for UIKit views. That's also, of course, it's not going to be as fun as with SwiftUI, where when you change one line of code, you immediately get the change. But if you want to try this out, maybe that's something you want to consider. The way I've been started doing this is in Playgrounds. Yeah, that also works, but in Playgrounds you have to copy things over and back again. But yeah, I think there's like one tool for everything, and that makes sense. And there's not one tool, I mean, there's a different tool that makes sense for everything different. There's not one tool that solves all your problems at once. But I was also looking forward to SwiftUI. I'm just trying to warn you, kind of. Don't expect the navigation to be like in UIKit. It's not just a UI framework that changes how you build UI and that's it. It's also changing how you navigate. It's changing both at once. And that's something people always underestimate when they think switching UI framework, that the navigation will stay the same. They just have a different way of building one screen. But it's also completely changing how you build the navigation from screen to screen. Yeah, Playgrounds are definitely not the best solutions. There's a lot of issues I have trying to replicate our code in Playgrounds. Yeah, Playgrounds is not built for that, for like complex views, and especially not for navigation if you need that as well. But anyways, let me try to write down here what I want to write down. add feature to edit category groups. Let's first fix the iOS. So one thing is move buttons like, let's make it more explicit. Move close button in category edit view to top bar. Maybe we can just make a screenshot to make it more clear what I'm talking about. Then these are not editable. Maybe I can use these so we can close it down. Then we have edit, also iOS, edit category view, entries or buttons are disabled. Don't know why that is, but let's fix that as well. Then edit summary. This kind of works, but the close button has to be moved out as well. Move close button and edit summary up. What else does not look right in iOS? Maybe we want to add some spacing here. Maybe that's something we can fix right away. So edit categories and summary. Let's just add a spacer at the bottom and move it more up. How does it look on macOS? I think pretty similar. Let's just go to timer view. Let's just switch to timer feature so we can see the preview. We have this H stack, these are the buttons, and then we don't have any spacer in below that. And this is a V stack. Maybe we just need to add a spacer. See how that's going to affect the preview. Not much, I would say. This is also kind of ugly, but that's a smaller UI problem. That's not a usability concern. Yeah, this is also not a huge thing, so maybe this is a spacer, this is an H stack. The start button, the headline, the progress view, and the spacer. So this is the one that is taking most of the space. Spacers are not really doing so. Maybe we need to restrict this size. Let's say this has a frame of max height of 200. Yeah, this kind of works. Okay, that should be fixed then. What else is not working? So there's no sidebar entries yet. Starting to play Pokemon, right? Let me also try to catch. What Pokemon do we have right now? Oops. Catch. Hey, I think the sidebar entries, there's nothing to fix there. We just need to implement that. But here we have this bar here, and we just want to move that up, I would say. So let's put it here. say like iOS, move tab bar up and use maybe segmented control instead on iOS. Does that make sense? Or navigation view maybe? I have to think about that. Oh, Sizzlepete has been caught by Very Real. What about this one? So also with the width here needs to be fixed. iOS fix width, or just sizing of contents in category settings. Okay. What about the edit view when we click edit? Also, these buttons are too small for iOS clicking, so make edit, delete, trash icons larger, or just use yeah, let's make them larger. However I solve that. What else do we have? This looks okay. The create new category button. Yeah, we should just make it a plus icon somewhere, I think. So replace create new category button with a plus icon on top bar. That's going to look more iOS native. Otherwise, I think this is okay. Okay, these are the things we need to fix for the full iOS support. And let's go by one. So we want to move the close button in category edit view to top bar. It's that, and we have similar close buttons elsewhere too, like here. So them both together. So category edit and edit summary. Category edit. So this is our category edit view. Oh, you just started your journey. Your starter is Torchic. Is that... Did I say that right? I don't know the English names of these Pokemon. Let me just look it up. Oops, Torchic. Ah, okay. Nice, okay, this is the view, and we can already see in iOS it looks pretty ugly. I am going to actually change to the Mac so we can see both Mac and iOS side by side, because I have configured the top ones to be running on Mac and the bottom ones to be running on iOS. I honestly don't know anything about Pokemon except Pikachu. Okay, you're just playing for fun. No worries. Okay, so this is what it looks like on a Mac. I think that is pretty fine. But on iOS, the button placement and everything is not looking right. And we can also see that this is having all these indentation, and then this is having a padding. I think that's an issue. So padding we only want to have on macOS, otherwise on iOS it's already getting everything because of the form. I see. Do we really need padding even on macOS? Can I remove it everywhere? Okay, on macOS we need the padding. So we're just going to say macOS only. We have that. Yes, there we have it. macOS only. We're just going to say padding. So now we should have padding here, but not there. Perfect. Now we want to also move these buttons. I would say we want to have a navigation view here on iOS. Then we can put them on the navigation bar. Can we have a navigation view without navigation, like a bar without navigation? Let me just look up in SwiftUI, navigation view. That's for iOS, iPadOS I mean. No, yeah, I don't need any links. It's something I created, and you can see I'm using it twice here, so maybe we can just do this here. View.padding. Actually, we can do this like that. Yeah, I created this myself. You can find it in the handy SwiftUI. It's actually open source, so I basically implemented it there. It also doesn't work in all cases. It only works if the modifier you're trying to apply is available on both iOS and macOS, because sometimes you have a modifier that's not available on iOS or macOS, and if you use this, then it doesn't work, because as you can see, there is no if def or something like that. So even if I run this on iOS, it will compile this, it will just not run it in when it's running the code. So that's why this only works for things that are available on both. But as you can see, it's still useful because the padding on macOS does make sense, but here it doesn't make sense. And yeah, this is implemented in handy SwiftUI. Let me send you a link actually if you want to consider checking that out. But the handy SwiftUI is something that I have not extensively documented yet. I think it's not documented at all. I also have other handy libraries that I have documented. You can see there is nothing in here, but the types are already here, so you can check that out if you want. And I plan to add more stuff here as soon as I have my first app that I'm currently writing, my private time. Once it's finished, I'm going to basically extract everything that's reusable, like I've done also in the past with other libraries, like with Handy Swift or Handy UI Kit. I also have a Handy UI Kit library. You can find this documented with all of the extensions I have here, and they are also really useful sometimes, like, I don't know, stripping away white spaces and things like that around strings, checking for is blank, and things like that. I actually use that quite a lot. So I always import my handy libraries, and I try to make sure that they're also always compiling, that they're not adding too specific stuff. They're really useful in many places, like Handy UI Kit, for example. I don't know, core graphics, it can convert things from width to pixels to make sure that you have the, like if you have retina and no versus non-retina, or if you want to calculate the height of a text with a specific font, whether when you provide a fixed width, for example, you can do that. And this is useful for some things. You can hyphenate, things like that. For example, the support for superscript and things like that. Yeah, this is being provided by my little library here. And I just put things here that are really generic to any app. I also have a lot of helpers in my apps that I don't extract into these libraries because they are too specific to my needs. But these are the public things, and I think these ones are very useful there. Yeah, sure, make sure to check it out. I think I will write, you can follow me on Twitter if you don't do that yet. Not sure if I have a Twitter command here. Doesn't look like it, but I just have the same name, Jihad, on Twitter. And if you follow me there, as soon as I make a release of Handy SwiftUI with like proper documentation, everything extracted, I will make sure to post it there so you can be informed there. I will also probably show it in the stream if you want to just follow me here. Well, let's get back to this here. So we have done this. Now I want to move these things up. How can I have no navigation view here, but a navigation view here? Or can I actually put this in a navigation view on macOS as well? What would it look like? Will it change anything? Let me just check. Maybe it will just work on both. Let's see what changes this makes. Okay, it does have an effect, clearly. And here the buttons are still at the bottom, it doesn't really change that. Ah, okay, it's trying to create like a sidebar and another thing here. I think we need to set the navigation style. Navigation view style. And we have navigation view style. Columns stack. I think we need stack here. And yeah, this is something that's probably not available on macOS. Oh no, it's not a problem. Cannot be used on protocol meta type. Like that. No, it does not work. Yeah, it's not available on macOS. So on macOS we only have columns. And then it's creating this thing here. How can I not show the sidebar? How can I set this to be the main content? macOS. Oh, let's first look here. Navigation view style. The stack style. Let's go to navigation view. So they have two views, and the second view simply is the right part and the first view is the left part. So if I edit like a text here, sidebar, will the preview now look different? I'll remove that as well. So now this kind of looks better, although, yeah, now we have the sidebar here. We just need to hide the sidebar now. And here we're just seeing the sidebar. How can we show this thing? So I want to show the main content. SwiftUI navigation view, show hide sidebar. Basically. Navigation bar hidden. Not really what I'm looking for. Toggle sidebar, toolbar. Sidebar. And how do they hide it? What if I use an empty view? And we just see nothing on iOS. SwiftUI navigation view. Show detail view only. I'm already considering maybe not using navigation view at all, instead just using my own toolbar or something. Yeah, let me check if there is something like a toolbar. You do have toolbar and it's defined on view. But where is it going to show? So on macOS it's at the top. Will look like on iOS. Let's just try it out. So we're going to, instead of navigation view, keep the form. I'm just going to create a toolbar with the text, or let's say a button, because we're going to use buttons. Let's just do nothing here, and label is test. Okay, nothing happening on macOS and nothing on iOS. I'm guessing this only works in combination with something like a navigation view. So let's put this in a navigation view. Can we see now? No toolbar, no toolbar. Okay, what was the example looking like? So we have a toolbar defined on a color even. Oh, only toolbar items are being shown. Maybe that was the issue. Let's try that. Toolbar item. And now we can provide a content. Placement even. Let's just start with content. Build this thing. Where's the build failing? And they're using text as well, so this should actually work. Yeah, I'm guessing this will only show something if we have a navigation view around it. So let's just create a navigation view and a preview. See what it will look like with a navigation view around it. And the preview variants, of course, need to be moved outside. Okay, we can see something here at the top right. And this has nothing. It's interesting. Let me just run the app and see what this looks like in real life. Well, the iOS app first. I'm currently thinking about maybe leaving the buttons at the bottom, but just making them look more nice at the bottom. Not like an H stack, maybe just extra group and a V stack, something like that, so an extra section. Maybe that could resolve the iOS issue. And on macOS we could stick with an H stack. We could use an adaptive stack actually. is it not building? Here we go. And it was about edit categories. Right, okay, we're going to the last break. And after the break, last half hour, trying to fix as many for today. Be right back. Okay, let's continue. And for some reason I can't hear the background music, but I think you should be able to hear it. Let me try next song. Okay, I don't really know what's going on, but anyways, it's just half an hour, so I should, yeah, you can hear it, okay. That's the most important thing. I can get around half an hour without music. Anyways, we were trying to find a nice solution for this here. Okay, so I will just go with a simple solution, and we can still iterate on that and fix that and improve that later. So instead of doing the full thing, I think I will first put these things into one section that belong together. So text field, the picker, I think they are one section. And then we're going to create another section for the buttons. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I'm building the full iOS app. We have to just build the settings edit category instead. Build failed. What's going on? Okay, it's passing now. Let's try again for the preview. Preview is failing. That's weird. I think we reverted everything. This should actually work now. There we go. Do we still have a navigation view? Yes, we still have it in the preview here. Let's remove it. Let's get back to our original view. Now we have the cancel and save buttons in their own section. This looks much better. But of course we don't want to have them H-stack on iOS. So let's say if macOS and let's just copy the same buttons on iOS. Just being separate views, which I think should look like separate buttons. Yes, it does. And here it stays the same as before. Is this what we want? Definitely not perfect, but maybe better than before. Maybe we do want to show them side by side on iOS too. Maybe we just want to give them a different style. Let me try something else. Let's try button style. something like that. So macOS doesn't change because I think it's bordered by default, but on iOS it changes. I don't like that this is like in a separate thing. This really looks ugly. How can we improve that? What if we don't have any background view here? What if we just had the buttons in that style? No, that's definitely not better. Okay, I think I'm going to keep it with this, but on iOS I think I'm going to... I really don't know what to do here. How can buttons look like on iOS when I put them at the bottom? Do we have any place where this is actually being done? Maybe here when I click. No, they're always at the top here. And they are in their extra lines. So, okay, so we're going to skip the H stack. I'm just going to say if OS, macOS, and if, let me try this. I'm not sure if that works. I'm going to do it like this. Does that work? No. It does not. Okay. In that case, some duplicate code. Doesn't hurt that much. There we go. This should go back to what we had before. Okay, so cancel save and the buttons like this. This is definitely an improvement, and it's not perfect, but we're trying to just improve and not make everything perfect right away. We can work on it iteratively, and now we're saving time. We're still making this more usable on iOS than before. Actually, I should be able to click anywhere on the screen. Is that the case? Yeah, nice. On this field I meant. Cool, so this is kind of making that work, and we can apply the same. We had two places where we wanted to fix that. So edit categories was one place, and edit summary is the other place. We'll want to do that as well. We can see this is already its extra button, and it just doesn't look that nice. And this is more common to be at the top as well. This kind of works. I mean, this also kind of works. But it was not that screen that we just worked on, right? This was the settings, yeah, here, the categories, and then we go to edit here. This is what we just worked on, and this was cancel save in one H stack. That definitely didn't work. So we improved that. Still choose an icon hourglass is disabled. Why is that? And that this is an editable text field is also not clear to me, so maybe we want to communicate that as well. Open focus timer. Enter name of category here. Let's say text field style. I think there's also bordered here. Is there? Maybe not. Text field style. Plain rounded border and square border. Let's make actually square border. Doesn't it build? Okay, this is unavailable on iOS. What do we have available on iOS? So let's just go to here and search for the text field style. I meant the type text field style. So default is available on all platforms, plain also. macOS and iOS only is rounded border. Then let's use a rounded border. See what that looks like. Okay. I'm not a fan of either of the iOS one. I think we need to indicate somehow differently that this is an editable text. How can we indicate that? I mean, this is not editable, this is editable. Maybe we should show an icon. Or what else could we do to indicate that this is editable? Indicate that text field is editable. Design. I'm changing the background color. Basically that's what everybody is doing. Can we change the background color here to secondary, for example? Yeah, but this is not really what we want. Heading 2. Changing the opacity to 10%. Let's make it gray. Not really. Can make it accent color. Not liking this, I'm just going to keep it with text field and we'll think about it later. Why are these disabled on iOS? Is it just the state that we have set here, or is it, oh no, it was also disabled on the real app. So choose an icon is disabled when? Edit icon color label. The color picker, we have this picker selection binding. We don't have disabled anywhere here. Why is it disabled? Let me run the app again, just double check. Also, why is it taking so long to start? Something we need to optimize too. Why are these disabled? Seriously. Okay, when I click into edit categories. Oops, edit categories. Category. Okay, let me see the structure here. I have the timer feature. The timer view is presenting when we click on the edit button, presenting category selector state and reflection string. So we have category selector. Here we go. category selector. Let's try to build this. We need to choose Mac here, so we can see both iOS and Mac previews. And it's not building. Why not? Now it is. Update the preview. Let's update the packages, maybe something's wrong there. And let's also stop the app that's running in the background still. Oop. Okay, Xcode crashed. Another Xcode issue. I'm sure we all know about that. I had this already last time a few times, Xcode crashing and trying to update the preview. Oh joy. I'm going to reset package caches. Maybe that will help here, because it sounds like there is an issue with the dependencies. Somehow can't find the order collection dependency from Apple. And now let's build first the app itself. I mean the module. It's taking a while, but I think we're going to close up soon, once I have maybe understood why these are disabled. Maybe we can provide a quick fix. They actually should not be disabled. Create a new one. Edit summary. Close. Start. Even on starting, I can't really choose anything here. That's not good. But we have it in the list, right? So move close button category to top bar. Category are disabled. This is what we're working on right now. Oh, a MacBee. That's definitely something I want to catch. Let's try a great ball. Oh, this is taking so long. Go, go, go. You can do it, and it can do it. At least on macOS. But iOS could follow. So we have this, we have a selection. We don't have anything that is turning anything off. Category group selection change. So this is category group. Okay, to be honest, I really don't know why this is disabled on iOS, and this is probably where we're going to continue next time. Let me see what we have changed here. Maybe there's some value in yes, of course, there's things that we haven't committed yet. We have changed the base navigation, and that's worth committing for sure. And we have removed the entry point reducer as well. Let's finish that up as well. So we can basically remove this whole thing. And removing code is always a nice feeling, even if Xcode crashes right after that. Let's reopen Xcode. We have to check that everything is still building. But we have removed, let's just put them all here and let's just check. So we have done these changes here. Looking good. This is also looking good. These are removed. This is slightly renamed things. The added category, the color picker, everything put in the form. This is the fix. This helped as well. And this can be removed as well now. Let's clean this up. What's going on? Okay, let me open that first. And we're talking about the package.swift file. Okay. It's this part here. Magby has been caught by Rio and me. Nice. This is looking good. So this basically fix issues with iOS base navigation plus slightly improved button placement. Nice. Do we have this documented here? No. Let's do that. Issues with base navigation to timer plus improved button placement instead of HStack. So there's still a lot to do for getting full iOS support and everything working with iOS. But we have done some first steps here, and I think we have already learned some things, and we are still some issues to learn. So one problem, Xcode crashed on updating SwiftUI previews, and for some reason some pickers anyway are disabled on iOS. Need to investigate. So that's the summary for today's stream, and as always, before I close up, just a quick reminder of my Medium blog. Basically, I'm writing articles here. I'm currently writing on multiple articles that are going to be interesting, so make sure to follow me there on jihad.medium.com if you don't already. Let me just copy it into the chat. And also I am Jihad at Jihad, and on Twitter I'm always sharing knowledge, sharing learnings that I have. I'm also going to be posting our learnings from today's morning stream. We had some interesting things there, and also make sure to follow me on YouTube. Let me also send a link there. And if you're watching this from YouTube, make sure to like this video, don't forget to do that. And for everybody on Twitch, I'm going to now rate I'm going to rate Aflux, who's basically, oh, Aflux isn't online anymore, already went offline. No, Flux should still be online. So I'm going to rate Flux now. Don't know why it's not showing here. Definitely make sure to say hi and be nice to him. And we'll see each other very soon. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. Thank you for everybody who followed and subscribed. And see you next week on Friday again. We're going to continue our journey with the OpenFocus timer now. See you until then. Bye.